Greetings, my friends. It feels so long since I've had the opportunity to say that. Welcome to the season review live show with myself, Liam, and my good friend Rams. Rams, how are you this evening, buddy?
I'm well. Greetings, guys. Welcome. It's been a long time. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
to be back. Yeah.
absolutely. So the plan for today is to take a look, uh, well, to have a conversation about how we feel season two has gone. And then after that, we're going to be discussing some future plans that we've got for the podcast and how we're going to organize ourselves. So let's just jump straight in. Ramps, where have you gone? Come back. Come back. He's
Yes. Here,
hiding.
here I am.
You're, you're
Yes.
hiding uh, behind a camera, not a microphone for a change.
Yeah. Yeah. It's either behind the microphone or on the camera. I just like to
Yeah.
to hide a little bit.
You want to
Yeah.
be in the background. You're so used to being in the background, eh? Yeah.
I'm so used to being in the
This is
background,
your
man.
time to shine, my friend. It's your time to shine.
Oh man, I didn't think. Yeah, I'll learn. I'll get into it a
Yeah.
little bit with time.
Yeah.
Um, oh man, it was fun. It was fun to do the second season. I'm happy that we finished it.
What was the
Uh,
highlight for you?
what the highlight was experimenting with different formats. I'm sure
Okay.
people saw we apart from doing what we already had done in the first season where it was generally just us having conversations, we introduced a couple of new formats. We
Hmm.
had someone on for an interview for the very first time. We had Valeria on.
Yes, the interview with Valerio, very, very interesting guy, huh?
Yeah, that helped me so much when it came to intonation when working with clients and pronunciation itself, enunciation. He made some really good points and also made me aware of maybe sometimes how I maybe neglect that. No, actually, intonation is quite important in every single language. And for a while, maybe comparing it English and Italian intonation, it seemed as though it was less so. What
Right.
about you? What did you take away from that conversation, and how did it sort of affect how you worked afterwards?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
I think for me that it, because he's a friend of mine, it was really nice to actually dive deeper into parts of his life that I knew about, but I hadn't, gone into a lot of detail. And so learning about the holistic coaching and how he trains people to use their voice and at the same time, you know, become better versions of themselves. That's very, very similar to what we do with language, but to be focused on doing that from a vocal point of view in singing, I found that really interesting.
Yeah, and it was quite insightful. I think even
Mm.
just for ourselves and maybe even things that we sort of take for granted as
Mhm.
English speakers, like the importance of intonation and how that has become part of, like, when I'm working with clients now, I'm paying a little bit more attention to that,
Right.
how they use an intonation.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes we even look into maybe a statement that through intonation could change and become a little bit funnier or a little bit,
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
I
how
think
intonation could
intonation
just, yeah,
was a theme running through this season. Actually, it came up in more than one occasion. Uh, I mentioned
yeah,
the Hamlet skit where they took the famous line and they emphasized a different.
yeah,
Each actor emphasized a different word, and it changes the sound and the way that the emotion comes across in that. And I think that's a very good example of what we're talking about. How you can play with English in that way. You can, once you have a good understanding of the language and you are getting into your higher levels, you're able to start playing with the sound of the language depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we are both able to do. And that, the idea of playing with the language uh, will links to my favorite video of the whole season, which was the one on creativity.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that talking about creativity and everything involved in right brain thinking, and that conversation, when I rewatched the season, that was the one that stood out to me as my favorite, I think.
Yeah. What about it? Yeah. Yeah. What about
Well,
it
I think
stood out?
it was our most natural conversation. I think it was the one that
We're in an element.
we were excited to talk about it, right? We were both like, oh yeah, then you can do this and this and this, and oh, what about that? And what about that element? Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a bit, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it was an effort to shut us up, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah. You had
Like,
probably
oh
like an
god,
hour and a half of footage to work with after that that
right?
conversation.
Yeah, yeah. It was a struggle to condense it down into
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
minutes in the end, because we were creatively talking about creativity. Say that 10 times
Oh
fast.
yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
Right? Creatively
I
talking
think
about
if you
creativity.
think about it,
I, I think if you think, yeah, exactly, exactly.
intonation again there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And being
yeah.
creative
So,
with the language. Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah,
yeah,
oh, sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Go for it.
No, no, no. It's great. I mean, I um, I was just looking at, I was watching the video with the idea of, okay, what are the main talking points from this? And I wrote down a list, and there's like, nearly half the video is valuable content, right? This valuable
Yeah,
discussion and practical tips about how you can introduce it into your language learning. So for me, that was the highlight of the season. Really, was that conversation that we had.
the yeah,
It's the one that gets me excited.
the creativity one.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
maybe on the day itself, we said. I think maybe we said maybe we can revisit this at a later stage as well.
right.
Even after
Yeah,
having spoken about creativity and how
mhm,
to learn languages creatively and how to be creative in your approach to learning language and how to creatively construct your ideas when speaking a language, we were like, okay, maybe there's more to this topic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there definitely
Surprisingly,
is.
yeah.
I think
You know?
I would really love it if it could become a theme as part of what we do. Is to
Yeah.
try and add creativity to every subject that we cover, to try
But
and
in
look
the
at it
way in which we speak about it, in the way in which we present it,
both, all of it.
yeah, every way, yeah, all
Yeah,
of it, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
well, I think it is already. Maybe we just sort of over time we're defining it and redefining and defining and
yeah.
redefining. But I
It's
think
all
it's
part of
really at the core
design,
of
isn't it?
most. Yeah,
It's all
we
part of
just.
design, and
I mean, we played with different formats. That's
e-
creativity as well in itself,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
That this and how many different apart from the conversations we usually have that are focused on
Okay,
language and so
yeah.
on.
So we did
Um,
the conversation. We had the interview. That's two. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear at
yeah.
people. We also had number three was your language
Oh
summary.
yes, yes. Language summaries. Yeah, what did Liam
Yeah,
say in the language feedback? And
yeah,
then we had the visualization. That
yeah.
for me is probably my favorite one.
Really? Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah, yeah, that the visualization video. Like, I'm sorry, I am hijacking the conversation now. We were
Oh
talking about
no.
creativity, and I'm just like, hey, this is right. I'm getting excited. But that, speaking about favorite videos,
Mm,
I think part of it is because I didn't edit it. So I didn't
right.
watch it over and over
Right.
and
Okay.
over. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when we were speaking about it the other day, you said, I'm gonna watch the videos again. And I was like, oh great. Yes, you should watch the videos again. but I knew I wasn't gonna watch them again
You're
because
like,
if
God,
all
no.
I knew, no, no, I because I know them that well. You know, by the
Right.
time we post the videos, I've watched
That
each
is true.
video on average maybe like 7 or maybe 10 times, if not more times. So all
Right.
I need for you is to tell me the name of the video and start somewhere. I'm like, okay, I remember. I might be even able to tell you why I cut that bit there or what was
Right.
happening at the time that I cut
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
It's that.
It's deeply ingrained into your memory by
Yeah,
that
yeah, it's
point
in
through
deeply ingrained. Yeah,
repetition.
deeply ingrained. Yeah, it's because when I go
Yeah.
to bed when I'm editing, I'm already thinking, okay, so yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's hard to switch off. That one was yeah. I liked
Right.
it for several reasons, right? Yep. So yeah,
Right.
because you explained why you liked the creativity episode. The content is really amazing in it. I back that 100%.
Mm.
And I would say the same for the visualization video. It
Right.
is, I think, the how you put the video together is just beautiful, seamless,
Thank you.
and
Thank
then
you.
your voice is perfect, man. It's perfect for yeah. It matches perfectly with the sound
Hmm.
and what you say and how you say it. Intonation comes into it as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Pronunciation as well. The intonation
Hmm.
there is very, very clear. So if it, anyone wants to, we've gone back to intonation. It appears to really be one of the themes of this season. We keep going back to it. Anyone who wants to sort of look into intonation and see how useful it can be, even in just relaying a message or telling someone something in a very calm manner. I think
Hmm.
that visualization video, I think, is brilliant for that. The
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
you use intonation in that video and enunciation, yeah, listening to it over and
I
over again,
I
it's
had a
really
clear intention of what my message was for that video. My
yeah.
intention was A, help people relax, and B, to give them the confidence to give them the reassurance that everything is okay. And the way that I tried to get that across was through the intonation. It was through emphasizing certain words, certain syllables in words, and having a slower tempo, a lower volume to what is my natural one, and a lower tone. Well, not lower tone actually. It was.
No, yeah, you're right. It
I
was
think
it
I
was
think actually it wasn't tone. It was pitch that I changed because my tone is relatively, you know, I'm a little bit croaky today because it's the end of the day, but I try I try to change the pitch and the tone slightly in order to sound more reassuring and calm.
that's what I was going to say.
Mm.
But I think that's sorry, more than intonation. I think that's more linked to pacing
Right.
because I think that naturally happens. If generally speaking, people with lower voices speak
Right.
slower usually.
Right.
You know, one
Yeah.
of the issues that we have sometimes with me is that I speak far too slow sometimes, and it seems like maybe I'm not really interested in the topic, but it's I really am. I'm just because of my voice being lower.
Mhm.
You speak slower. It affects your
Hey,
breathing. You know,
Steve,
we're
will you
going
spend
back
a bit
to
more time up here, Ramps?
I need to spend a little bit more time up there, but I can't do that if I need to be. But didn't realize when I started speaking like that, I try to speak a little bit quicker. You know,
Yeah, listen,
so
audience, if
pitch.
you didn't understand any of that, don't worry, neither did I. So
I didn't understand
you didn't
either. I
even know
didn't even
what you were
know what I was saying.
saying.
I'm just saying things as quick as possible. Yeah. But you see that link between
Yeah,
the pitch of the voice and the pace at which someone speaks. And
right.
in that video, the pacing is perfect, and because of that, the pitch is great. It's
Hmm.
the perfect pitch. The intonation varies at the right moments when it needs to be, and enunciation. I mean, I could almost, as I was listening to it, because that's what I did as well. I watched it, and then I watched it immediately again, and then the third time, I sort of listened to it, and I
Mhm.
could almost picture the movement of your mouth because I know you. We're mates. We know each other well.
Right.
I could tell that in those moments you
Oh
were
yeah, I was
truly
really
good
going for
going for.
every single
Yes,
word. I did.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You
Well,
know,
I knew it didn't matter how how ridiculous my face looked because I would be putting other
putting
other
images.
images over the top of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell us in the comments below, would you like to see the original footage of me reading to the screen
Oh yeah,
and,
I want to
what
see
my
that.
face does when I'm really trying to enunciate things? Yes. Um,
Very, because even like some of my clients who are maybe like A2, they liked it, and I
okay.
think because it's very clear,
Yeah.
it was quite easy to follow.
Yeah.
I understood it.
Mhm.
Maybe that could be something we do a little bit more of for
Yeah, well,
because
I mean,
we
I'd be interested to hear what everyone thought in terms of the new formats that we introduced this season, whether they would like to see more of them, what worked, what didn't work, getting feedback from our wonderful audience is so helpful to because we have ideas of what we want to do with the channel, but really we're doing this to help people with
yeah.
their goals, with their language. So any feedback that you have for us, stick it in the comments below, please. I'd love to hear what you think.
Stick in the comments below.
Stick it in there. Just get.
Stick it
Why
in
aren't
there.
you typing already? Why aren't you typing? Get on with it. Come on.
We could, what's an alternative to stick it in there? Because
Yeah, that can be. Yes, there's
that
some
could be
connotations to that one, isn't there?
exactly. It's we could say drop it in
Yeah,
there.
just drop it in there. Yeah,
I mean,
drop me an email.
dropping can also
Drop,
have a little bit of
drop us a
co-
comment. Yeah, let's not go
yeah.
down that road. That's an
Mm,
innocent one. That is truly innocent.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
smash the like button. No, that's the. But you can do that as well. That's fine. But
I think
we're
you're working
digressing.
off a theme now. Yeah, yeah.
We're digressing.
From no,
I'm
no,
I'm
not
doing
digressing.
I'm
You
doing all
found
my
the
calls
theme.
to action. I'm doing all my drop a comment, smash the like button, like and subscribe. Oh yeah, all that stuff.
Well, it's
I'm
the
not
word
American enough
choice.
to get away with that, right?
Well,
So
it's the word choice. You see, uh, the first phrasal verb was what was it again? Stick it in there. Okay,
stick something
okay.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, stick something in, and then you went with smash. Like this is the you see what I mean when they're like you have
Oh,
seem to have
Rams.
found a
Oh,
theme you're working off. You know,
okay, listen. Rams has a dirty mind, everybody. If you hadn't worked out already, he's insinuating that all of these phrasal verbs have sexual connotations.
I mean,
You're all
I'm not in.
adults. I know you get it, but
Well,
he's
I,
smutty. He has a
yeah,
smutty mind.
I,
But we're getting completely distracted by Rams's smutty mind. I do
it's
apologize, everybody.
look.
Um,
It takes
let's
one to
get
know.
back on track.
All I'm gonna say. It takes
I
one to know one.
I'm the respectable one here. Let's be honest. Come on. I'm the older, wiser, more respectable one. I have children, and I'm practically married, and all of this all of this dirty humor is something that I left in my past many years ago. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's very believable. Very,
yeah,
very believable. But
I left
let's
my
move
flirty
on.
past behind. But you, young man,
What are you? Don't let this face fool you. I'm pretty seasoned.
sheriff,
All right,
sheriff.
I'm
Whoa, whoa,
pretty.
whoa.
He's doing this
I
to just
can see the
yeah.
halo around his head. Oh,
This guy, you know I'm not that young. Why are you throwing me under the bus like this? Like I'm
sorry,
some young
sorry.
lad. This man,
I know,
I've got
I know.
kids. Like
Right, let's move on. Let's move on because we're having fun instead of getting to the point. And
right, yeah.
uh,
Well,
right, let's
th-
stay on. Let's stay
yeah,
on
but
track. So
What?
okay, so season 2, we talked about our favorite videos. What did you
Yeah,
learn from season 2,
yeah,
buddy?
yeah. That's what that. I think we already sort of touched on that when we spoke
Yeah.
about intonation. Like I started to focus a little bit more on intonation. Um, like you said, the line
Hmm.
with different actors saying it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
What was
Okay.
maybe so? What I've learned, I think we already covered. But the surprise, what surprised me was
Hmm.
really the what surprised me was uh, the video we spoke about earlier. The
Creativity,
No, not creativity. Um, what
the
uh,
language
affirmation?
focused.
Not the language focus. The affirmation video.
Right. Okay. The visualization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Visualization video. Yes. Yeah. That was a surprise. Like, I mean, because we spoke about it. That was a that one really surprised me on the style, the format. I think it was really
I,
a
I
pleasant surprise for
I
me.
have to say,
Yeah.
I was also pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed making it, because it,
Yeah.
you may or may not know, audience, but uh, at the moment, Ramps does most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the editing and what the final version of the podcast looks like. So he has a lot of the creative license. We work on it together, but he's doing all of the hard work and stuff. And that was the first video that I produced for the podcast, and I really enjoyed doing it. I kind of like there was part of me going, oh yeah, good. This was the fun. This was the creative aspect of producing videos when I was doing it for my other channel. It's okay, telling the story through images. So yeah, it reminded me, yeah, I like doing this. I should try and find a way to do more of it. Um,
And that's the thing, though, right? You thought originally you said you don't like editing, but it isn't that you don't like editing. It's that you enjoy editing a specific type of video, specific style.
mm,
Because when we started, you'd say, "Oh man, sitting there for hours editing, and it's awful," and this, like it was
I
a
think
time-consuming
the,
element.
the the struggle for me was, and always has been with editing, is I have a very clear image of what I want something to look like, but I don't have the technical skills to pull it off. And the thing, when we talked about doing editing, the thing that I mentioned I dislike about it is the tinkering. I like the editing, I like the drag and drop approach. That's simple. I can work that stuff out. What I don't like is spending hours and hours and hours for a graphic that lasts 3 seconds on a 30-minute video. That's the bit I don't like, right? And that's the bit
Yeah,
you
that's
love,
fair.
right? I I'm happy to do the rough cut. I'm happy to decide what stays and what goes, and create the story. I don't mind doing all that. I can get lost in that very easily. What I don't like is trying to work out green screen graphics and doing all the extra bits, and the the
Yeah, the bells and
min,
whistles.
minutiae aspect of it,
Yeah, the
which
the,
is
the the finer details, the things that make it,
uh,
yeah,
exactly,
bring up the video a little
exactly,
bit. Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
exactly.
No, man, that is great for us now as well. So that means it will change a little bit as well how we
Mhm.
work going forward, right? Specifically
Yes.
with posts, which
I
probably brings us to what's coming next.
Yeah, this is a good point to bring up the future plans for the podcast.
Yeah,
Um, we collectively have come to the decision that we would like to tell better stories. We This is a video podcast after all. We want to be able to tell good quality visual stories, still using the basic concepts that we've come up with so far, taking a personal development subject, adapting that to language learning, specifically for non-native speakers who are learning English.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Who's that?
Yeah, because I just wanted to check the score on the football.
Well,
Yeah.
there are, yes, a big
Yeah.
evening for football.
And yesterday as well, Champions League.
Yes,
That's why.
yes. So yeah, we want to tell better visual stories. We want to be able to integrate everything that we're doing into something that is more cinematic, is more engaging for our audience, for you guys.
So creativity, something to add more creativity in the manner in which we are telling our stories.
Exactly.
That's why that episode probably resonated with you so much.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's
touched.
so
It was
much
like and
touched the nerve.
also why doing the visualization was one of the highlights for me, was because that I was being creative. I was creatively producing a video.
Yeah.
And so what we've decided to do is to drop down to having a long form video once every 2 weeks. And we're going to take a little hiatus. We're going to take a little break to give ourselves time to plan the next season as effectively as we can. We want to design everything in order that we can execute in the best way possible. So we're going to be taking a little break. There won't be a 30-minute video until we're going to take at least a month off, right?
Yes, we're gonna take a month off, and then when we come back, we'll post long form videos twice a month, so every second week.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think realistically, our next long video will be around the 4th of June.
Yeah.
We are not going to leave you empty-handed. We are still going to be producing some content. The plan is to make some original shorts content. We've got some ideas about how to do that and how to begin telling stories and creating engaging content that is still on brand, still going to be entertaining and educational for you guys.
I think that's what we realized having looked back at season 2, going into the next one. We realized that the content we're making is great and informative, but perhaps we're just missing a little bit of creativity, which means we're maybe missing a little bit of a entertainment value to some level, because we are a video podcast. So I think it's important that visually it's pleasing. I don't know how much we can say about that. For the Liam's part, maybe visually pleasing, yes. But on the other side of the screen, hence I have the microphone. See,
Hiding behind the microphone.
That's the trick. That's why I got
You've
the
been talking
microphone right
nearly
here.
as much as me, and you have yet to do a one shot on yourself as well, I have noticed.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
he wants to hide. There he is.
Because so that's what we would love to do, to spend more time on planning and more time on production, so we can play around more and be more creative. Because another theme that kept coming up this season is being playful. And so I guess what we're saying is we're drinking our own medicine in relation into how we are going to produce the podcast going forward. The same medicine that we're trying to share with you in relation to how to approach your language development, we're doing it the same in developing content that is hopefully continues to be informative, continues to be inspiring, continues to help you learn, and at the same time add a little bit of playfulness
It's
to
got to
it.
be fun. It's got to be fun, right?
Yeah.
When Rams and I were developing the idea for the podcast, one of the key things in our mission statement was we want this to be fun. Okay, fun for
Yeah.
us and fun for you guys. That's it. It was that simple. That was the top thing. If it starts to become like work, we need to change something.
Yeah.
And I think for both of us in this last season, work, like actual work, has gotten so busy that it's been really difficult to adjust and keep up with the podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, and and then when you get into that space, it becomes like work. In the
Yeah.
same way, when you learn the language, if it's like, oh God, I have to do my English practice again,
You
you
just
lose the
switch
energy,
it
you
up.
lose the
Yeah.
motivation, you're not going to learn anything. And so we're making this decision, A, to try and ease the load a little bit in terms of our calendars, and B, to bring the joy back and and get the joy across and be creative and
Yeah.
find new ways that we can show everyone and ourselves of how to do these things. So
Yeah.
there will still be the conversation element, but it will be interweaved with a story of us showing you how to actually do the things that we're talking about and
Yeah.
giving you that example, giving you that lived experience.
I think, yeah, what we, like I said, yeah, we're drinking our own medicine, because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about the very first video, we spoke
Right.
about the very first video with when we spoke about learner styles. Now I'm going season one, 2 seasons
Hmm.
ago. I remember again, because I've edited so many times, I can still remember uh,
Strategies.
strategies, right?
Yeah,
As
I've seen that one many times myself, remember. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
both of us. So
Yeah.
me and my son saw it. Um,
Yeah.
so in the very first video in season one, we spoke about that boredom, plateauing.
Hmm.
That's a sign that something needs to change, right?
Right.
As you said it right now in relation to language learning, that is a sign that, okay, I need to change something. I need to add a layer of difficulty. I need to do something that I'm less comfortable doing. If I'm an auditory learner, maybe it's about time I start reading more, or maybe it's about time I start watching more and moving more and more away from things that I'm comfortable doing and getting more
Hmm.
into the uncomfortable bits of it. So I guess I'm saying I'm happy that we're in the process of doing exactly those things ourselves in relation to the production, um, and how we want to switch things around and change and make it better.
Yeah,
You know, make it better
exactly.
essentially. Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I think we're ambitious enough and humble enough to experiment and find what works, and admit that we're not the finished article. We are still on this journey ourselves. We're a little bit ahead in terms
Yeah.
of the information that we have and the things that we talk about, but actually we're both doing the same with our own language. We're trying to move forward, and be more natural in a second language as well, even though our first is English. And so it's about cataloging the journey. It's all about the
Excellent.
journey. The the
And yeah,
destination doesn't matter. It's about how you get there.
excellent. Well, the growth happens within the process, especially
Mhm.
because we're in two different stages of our language learning. We're learning the same language, Italian, but we're at different stages. I have a bit of an advantage only because I've been living in Italy a bit longer than you have, and by
Mhm.
a bit, I mean like quite a lot longer.
Just a little bit longer, just a little bit. Yeah.
And your move to Italy, was quite marred by COVID. So
Yeah.
work, as we know, especially when moving from one place to another, not even necessarily moving from a country to country, just even within the same country, when moving from one town or city to another, work is typically the place where you start to build like a social kind of circle
Mhm.
of people. And then from there, you sort of might meet other people. But in one way or another, work is always involved in making new friends when moving from one place to another. And
Absolutely.
having moved here during COVID meant
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Doing
you got
everything
work,
online.
but everything was online. So yes, you meet people, but it's all online.
Yeah.
And fortunately or unfortunately for us, work is in the language that we've been speaking our entire lives. So, and one like people, doctors and lawyers always don't want to say what they do when they're in social settings, because people then try to get a free consultation into it. You know,
Uh,
some people. I've got friends and family who are either doctors or lawyers, and they just don't. They never ask people what they do when they meet people for the first time in social settings, because then they know as soon as they tell them what they do,
oh, can you
someone's
take
like,
a look at
"Oh,
this thing
yeah."
underneath my armpit?
And some people
No.
get, I don't know whether it's excitement or shameless. I don't know which of the two it is. They just get so excited.
Right.
But you find that when with what we do, even when you are actively learning Italian and trying to converse with people in Italian, trying to, strike up conversation in Italian, that's something that I often do just to practice on that skill on
Mhm.
how to approach. You know how I think language is connected to culture and so on. So it's not just about the words I use. I'm trying to understand, okay, how do they do this? How do they try
Mhm.
to strike up conversation? How do they try to chat someone up? Yeah, these are really good, it's good things to know, to learn in the language. That's being playful with the
Yes.
language.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
um and so in trying to do all of that, um when especially in cities like Milan, the minute you speak to the person in Italian, the minute they ask, people always want to know, what do you do? And you tell them what you do, they usually switch to English. Oh man, if it's okay with you, can we switch to English? Because I've been learning English for a long time, and I don't have many opportunities to practice.
Right.
And I'm like, I get it, but I want to practice my Italian.
Well, you just, yeah, I mean, where I live, I don't get any of that
In
because
Milan, when I lived in Milan, I got that a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in Milan,
I don't.
in Milan.
I live in the suburbs, so where I live, there are very few people that speak English. But it goes the other way, right? There's no reciprocation.
Sorry, you said suburbs, and I thought of the song
Oh,
"In the
the
Suburbs."
Arcade Fire, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to
yeah, yeah.
listen to that a little bit later
I love
today. It's
that
been
song.
a
Good,
while
good,
since I.
great album, great album.
Yes, yes, yes. That was a really good album. That's uni days. I was in university, I think, when that came out. Probably the same with you, right? Like that's
No,
donkey
because
years
I'm
ago.
10 years older than you, mate. So I was not a university.
Yeah, but you went to
Although,
uni twice, no?
yeah, I suppose it could have
Yeah,
been.
you could. It could have
Yeah,
been uni. It could have been
it could
uni
have been
two.
it. It could have been that time period, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's like Little Dragon
That's
kind of
right. Yeah,
era,
like
beginning
20,
first albums.
2010-ish, that kind of
Yeah,
period, isn't it? Yeah.
2009, 20, yeah, 2009, 2010-ish kind of.
I think probably 2010 to 2012. It's that kind of period.
So maybe Arcade Fire,
Suburbs
maybe
might
I
have been
actually,
earlier, but their second album might have been in that period. But Little Dragon is certainly that period.
but I think maybe Arcade Fire came out a
Let's
little
let's
bit.
have this
Anyway,
conversation after live. Yeah.
session. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
facts.
Anyway, that was 2010.
Anyway,
I had to. Yeah.
anyway. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to be putting out short content of bite-sized chunks of what we've covered so far, the most important lessons from the 2 seasons. They're going to come in shorter videos for you. We're also going to be doing some original shorts. We're gonna play with trending videos. We're going to play with creative ideas, and try to be a bit more entertaining. And then in a month's time, we should be back with a new style of season for you. We're going to pick a theme, and then we're going to try and run that theme through everything that we do and we present to you. Let us know what you think of the new ideas. Leave a comment, get in touch. At this point, I want to say a huge shout out to Larissa for always giving a
Yeah.
very interesting opinion in the
Yeah.
comments. I want to say thank you to Stefano and to Christina for
Thank Yeah.
watching without commenting, but you're always mentioning to me that you've seen and asking questions and being interested. And to all of those other
Nick.
people who Nick who
Mm.
watches, do you know anyone else who watches regularly?
Nick, yeah, he always tells me, "Oh man, I'm on this episode." He watches 15 minutes at a time, and
Say
he's
thanks,
gone
Nick.
through all the seasons. Yeah, that's yeah.
Good job, man.
And he always tells me, uh, yeah, I think
And
that's
to
pretty
all
much
the
it. Yeah,
other people who come back week after week and watch everything that we do, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for following. We really
yeah.
appreciate it. And don't worry, we're still here, we're still working on it, we're not going anywhere. We just want to spend the right amount of time making sure that the next season is the best season that we've made so far.
We just want to make a better product service for you. We want to make it better for you as well, right?
Yeah.
So obviously for us, but obviously for you as well. As we say in English, muchas gracias, merci beaucoup.
Muchos grazie. What?
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
I wanted to say that for such a long time.
Really, really.
Yeah,
I'm
like in
agreed.
my head,
Yeah.
I think I'm so funny, and I'm like, oh my god, I've got to tell somebody
We've
this, and then yeah,
we've had this conversation. You are
yeah.
funny, but not when you try.
Yes, but that. See, that's not a good funny. That's not a good. That's not a good funny. You know. So I'm trying to work on my
No.
humor.
Ladies and
Trying to
gentlemen,
be
boys and
native
girls,
language.
I'm 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 gonna say that's it.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna wrap it
We
up
are.
for tonight. You've been
We're gonna
wonderful.
rip it.
Thank you so much for uh, being here, being with us. Thank you again for the support, both silent and spoken. Uh, we love you all. We will be back. That's good night from me and from Ramps, who's hiding again.
Good night, ladies and gents. Thanks. And yeah, that's see
See you
you.
soon.
See you soon. Yeah.
See you soon. Ciao.
Nice. Ciao.